Okay, what I want to show you this week is the Spanish post office and how you can utilize that as a pilgrim walking your Camino. And if you're wondering where I am, this is in central Seville. I'm just about to start the Via de la Plata, literally in about 30 minutes. But yesterday I was in this wonderful old building back here, which is the central Correos here in Sevilla. And let me explain how I use that service so that you can utilize it as well if you want to. Coming right up. So as I mentioned, there's a couple of reasons why you might want to use this service. I should put, well, there's three probably, so let me run through them. For those who are unable to carry their backpacks on the more popular routes like the Camino Francis and so on, the Spanish post office, Correos, does provide a backpack moving service. I haven't used that, I'm not talking about that today, but I should mention that. So they can pick up your backpacks and move them forward. They don't on this route that I'm walking, on the Via de la Plata. It's really only on the more popular Spanish routes. But the couple of things I wanted to talk about was the situation where you might want to send something to the end of your Camino. So I arrived here, for example, having done some business meetings in Dubai. I had just a few sort of business clothes with me. Obviously I don't want to carry those on my Camino. So I put those, I kind of rolled them up into a mailing tube and I'm mailing that to Santiago. There's a couple of options. I could mail it to the post office to be picked up. That service I think is called Paq Peregino, P-A-Q, Peregrino. If I can find the links, I'll put it down below. But that goes to the post office. I wanted to send it to Casa Ivar, and if you know Ivar Recve, he runs a very popular Camino forum and also has an online store and a Camino luggage store in Santiago, which I've used, and that's a great service. Why am I using that? Well, because Ivar does provide a great service and I can just walk in there and pick up my stuff, but also the Correos service, similar. I think it has a limit of 45 days that they'll hold your stuff. And I'm going to be walking for about 60 days plus, so I'll make sure I send it to Ivar. Now, Ivar did point out, do not use the Paq Peregino service if you're sending it to me. Why? Because that service goes to the post office for you to pick up. It doesn't go to a private address. So I sent that one privately, and I had to say, you know, a la casa, to the house, mi amigo. So that's that service. That was just a regular mailing service. But I did use the Paq Peregino service for a couple of mailing tubes that I'm sending ahead of me. So on this particular Camino, I want to start off slow, lightweight. I don't want to carry all the sort of extra paraphernalia that I brought along with me. I always bring, you know, too many extra things. And my feet are really not too good. So I wanted to give myself the chance to ease into the Camino. So what I plan to do is to send another mailing tube about halfway, and I'm sending that to Merida, I think. And in there I've got a replenishment of medicines that I need. I throw in stuff like you know, a spare pair of socks, another shirt, because these shirts are pretty thin. Maybe after a month I might wear one out. Maybe it'll be nice to have a clean pair of underwear and a new pair of socks. So a few things like that just in a mailing tube. So that's gone to Merida, to the post office for me to pick up. Just a tip there, obviously they're only open Monday to Friday. The hours here, I was surprised, are really good. I think, have they opened yet? They're open something like 8:30 in the morning till 8:30 at night, which is great. But obviously you would need to check the opening hours of the place where you're going to go and pick up your stuff. And it's Monday to Friday. So I had to pick a town to mail it to where, you know, very roughly I might end up there midweek. So if I'm a day or two either side, I can still pick it up okay. Obviously if, you know, I thought, oh, well, I might get there on a Friday and I'm running late and it's a Saturday, I'm going to be spending the weekend waiting to pick up my stuff. So kind of pick the midweek point. So that's the Paq Peregino. I use the ordinary mailing service. One thing to note on the Paq Peregino, they didn't like my mailing tubes because they were too long. And so that I had to actually, although I was going to use the Paq Peregino service, I had to use the regular mailing service because they were oversized. I didn't want to have to repack everything into the boxes that they've got. They've got great, you know, mailing boxes and tape and stuff all in there. I liked the security of my mailing tubes, and I'm going to use them on my way back to Australia anyway, so I thought, what the heck, I'm sure it won't be too much more. If you're wondering on the cost, so I actually ended up mailing 3. So one has gone to Santiago, one has gone to my halfway point, it's going to sound like a lunatic, and one I have sent about 7 to 10 days ahead of me. It's kind of stuff that I want to have with me, but I really had to reduce the weight in these first few days because of my bad feet. So I took out things like extra microphones for my video, and I managed to get about 1 kilo of stuff out of my pack, and I've mailed that 7 or 10 days ahead, so that I'll be sort of more conditioned to carrying a little bit of extra weight by the time I pick that up. So that one went to Zamora, I think. So 3 in total. I think, if you want a rough guide, I think each one was about 1 kilo and 1.5 kilos, and it was about 40 euros for all 3. And they'll store those for 45 days, the ones in the post office. So I just thought I'd mention it. If you're wondering how will I get stuff to my end point, you could do that. If you want to do like I've done for whatever reason, maybe you've got consumables, medicines or something that you don't want to carry all of it with you, you could mail some halfway. The Correos is a great service. And really high tech, I have to say. I mean, I gave them my Spanish phone number. I have a special email address that I'm using during the Camino. It was all sign-on glass, and then by the time I got back to the hotel, I had an email confirmation with all the stuff. So really great service. I love Spain. They're just great at everything. So there you go, a few tips on using a postal service. If you've got any questions, do ask down below, or maybe you've used alternative services. But right now, I'm going to wander back to my hotel, get my stuff together and start walking. Feeling very nervous about this one. See you soon. Bye for now.